This is one of the final illustrations for my horror puzzle indie game, Jahavi, a non-player character. This was her first design, created at the start of my semester. Here's my experience making concept art for a horror puzzle indie game in 15 weeks, using research as my guide for illustration. It has been one of the most grueling classes of my undergraduate degree. The initial passion, the burnout, and the recovery. Hi, I'm Lotus, and I'm graduating with a bachelor's in game design and development. A core part of my degree program is understanding the industry and learning the ins and outs of what makes a game functional, profitable, and most importantly, fun. My senior year in uni has been dedicated to the capstone experience. Yeah, the whole academic year. The first semester was interweaving academic research with our projects or internships. The second semester, the one I'm finishing up, is the execution. For this video, we will discuss the second semester. If you want a video about my first semester experience, leave a like and a more comment. The crux of the capstone project was that it needed to be backed up by research. So I did some research last semester, but felt that I had to find more specific examples for my horror puzzle game art portfolio. I gathered articles, academic papers, and published interviews to analyze and connect with the cast of characters I had in my game. Asians. Now, being Asian American is weird. Your ancestors are not from the States, but you're functioning enough to contribute to the States. You're supposed to be smart with AP classes and A's across your transcript. You're brown, but you shouldn't be that brown. But you're not white either. Then who are you? Where did you not belong? Such feelings would be represented in labyrinths of my horror puzzle game. Last semester, I did plenty of research about how players develop connections with in-game worlds and characters, and it was a very interesting eye-opener. For this game idea, I wanted to guide the player through those ousting emotions through gameplay and level design. Think Persona 4's dungeons based on character inner turmoils, and Persona 5's mind palaces based on antagonists' psyches. In my game, the player character, Melody Joy, was bullied in high school for being a Filipino immigrant. So her labyrinth is an abandoned school. To her, public schools had become a place of torment and where she felt left behind. This thought process is done for all of my characters in the game: Kevin, Henry, Jahavi, and Lavender. Throughout my whole university experience, every year, every semester, I had the same question. What am I going to do for my capstone project? Of course, it was supposed to be the culmination of our university degree. It is to be high quality and of decent quantity. A lot of people in the game dev program made 2D games, side-scrollers, and platformers. But I wanted to do something more attuned to me, because I don't really play side-scrollers, nor platformers. But I also wanted to do something that could be done in 15 weeks. I thought of making a complex combat system, but I wasn't good at coding. That was kind of funny to me. I thought of making a visual novel game, but that game's story wasn't really fleshed out. So I decided on fleshing out a concept art portfolio. It's still part of the game industry, and it is tapping into a skill set that I am the most experienced in. It was perfect. Using my previous semester's research paper as a guideline, I researched topics that were character specific. Each character symbolizes an Asian American issue. Kevin is a third culture kid and has trouble connecting with his home country's cultural practices. Henry is based on the model minority stereotype, so he has challenges connecting his rigorous studies to what he wants to do for a career. Jahavi has issues with colorism and how certain Asian groups prefer fairness, which are achieved through skincare and other dubious methods. And Lavender has difficulties identifying herself as Asian after camouflaging herself with the majority race. Then there's the player, Melody Joy, who has found inner peace and serves as a role model for the other characters. Throughout the game, you'd explore environments that are based on each character's turmoiled archetypes while avoiding deer-appearing monsters. General gist of my game. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. I set up a list of illustrations that I wanted to create for my portfolio. It totaled to about 30 concept illustrations, 5 character designs, 4 enemy designs, 7 environment designs, 7 key shots, 5 mechanics, and 4 UI designs. Doable. I noticed that I was experiencing burnout starting week 8 or so, but it really culminated on week 10. When I perused my work in progress files, I just didn't have motivation to even glance at them. It felt like I was just churning something for the sake of completing a task. This was coupled with other issues that were emerging in my life, and that detrimentally affected my mental and physical health. I had doubts like, am I unable to make a game? What if my idea misses the mark? What if people don't like it? Albeit the stories that are portrayed in the game concept are realistic, I have done my research during the winter break, it makes sense. But at the moment, I did not want to look at my art anymore. So I drew what I wanted to draw. I drew Sebastian from Stardew Valley, a game that I have over 100 hours in. I drew Kea from The Killing Spell, and I had fun, and I wanted to share these things, and my doodles were posted on my Instagram, and they were well received. And I haven't felt this way in a while. I have all these story ideas in my sketchbooks, but I have been holding off from sharing. The game concept that I have so far is not the first story that I've made, and I've been holding off from sharing those because they were my magnum opuses. I wanted them to be ready before showing them to everyone. And a little part of me still wants to cradle them for a little bit longer. And at that time, at the end of spring break, I had realized I had fallen out of love for art. For the past 10 years, since doing Hamilton Animatics, since doing fandom comments, since doing social media in general, it became a cycle to grow and grow and grow. But where was the end of it all when you're just a uni student? They say the world is your oyster, but oysters are kind of small. Was I even meant to be a game developer in the first place? After spring break, I approach tasks a little differently. For this hour, prepare reference material. Then for the next hour, eat lunch. I started tackling my life on an hour-by-hour basis. It made my anxiety more manageable. I returned to the semester rejuvenated. I looked at my capstone portfolio illustrations, and I wanted to have fun again. I know that they have more potential than how I first created them. Earlier this semester, I called this my completed character lineup. I was conscious about their silhouettes and color palettes, choosing what silhouette represented their personalities and choosing what color palette would correlate to their environments. It made sense, right? This is industry standard. But they're so generic. They have similar face shapes, eyes, noses. It was ironically more monotonous than what their stories were supposed to be. So I decided to redo their character concept arts, and these were better. These character arts, they're more unique. I push character boundaries for what their vibe should be. Jahavi has a face that is more bottom weighted. For instance, her eyes, nose, and mouth are more on the bottom of her skull rather than equidistant. Kevin's color palette was re-explored, and Henry's face is more sullen, sallow from staying up countless nights studying. And their background colors for their respective concept illustrations are based on their own labyrinth color palettes. So Jahavi's labyrinth is predominantly maroon, whereas Henry's labyrinth is mainly a hungry yellow. And these are better. I'm so happy. Like, looking at these character arts, my shading has improved. Their expressions have definitely improved. They look like actual people and not, dolls. And I'm happy. These past 15 weeks have been an adventure and the culmination of my story writing journey. I have been writing stories for as long as I remember. It all started with writing an original short play for my friends and I to perform. Then it became fan works of my favorite shows, and for the past decade, I started dedicating days of learning and practicing my craft so that someday I can share it with everyone. Creatives like us are storytellers by heart. We create narratives to express our emotions and experiences. It's a moment where we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, but sometimes that vulnerability hurts us. That is why we must take time to rest and reset so that we have the energy to look forward to another day. I appreciate you for joining me. If you want to come back here another day, subscribe and follow my other socials. See sneak peeks for my horror puzzle game. I have been posting a lot of shorts and reels of my characters, and a lot of it has been Kevin, my Gen Z brain rot OC, doing memes and dancing. So if you want to see that, be sure to subscribe and follow my Instagram for fan content like Sebastian from Stardew Valley and Kea from The Killing Spell. Thank you for watching. We'll meet again another day.